guys, today we're diving into a head-to-head battle between two viral hair tools you've been seeing all over the internet to see which one truly reigns supreme. Get ready for this electrifying battle. So in recent years, these air styling tools have become very popular. And recently, Shark, the vacuum cleaner brand, came out with their own version of this hair styling tool. So in their version, it comes with this brush attachment, this round brush attachment, a diffuser for those with curly hair, a frizz fighter finishing tool, a more directed styler for when you blow dry, and then similar to the old Dyson, you have a curler, one that goes this direction and one that goes this direction. And finally, the main blow dryer piece.
This is a blow dryer
that has the ability to twist so you don't have to strain your arm while blow drying. So the Shark Flexstyle actually has a lot of cool features like the diffuser and the frizz finishing tool. This one retails for $399, but I got it with $50 off during a Black Friday sale. So I guess one could consider that a pretty good deal when you compare it to the Godfather and the original air styler, the Dyson Airwrap. Now this one comes with its own case and just feels very luxe. It comes with a smoothing dryer, so similar to this guy, this is the counterpart. It comes with a flat brush. I would say this one's counterpart. Actually though, it also comes with this brush, which is kind of like a 2-in-1. I'm not sure what the difference is between this guy and this guy, because they both look the same to me. And then you also get a round brush, which is this guy's counterpart. But this one is so much bigger than this one. It's bigger, better, we shall see. A little unboxing action for you guys. So they used to have two like this one where it's like one goes this direction, the other, but they have since changed the design so that you can twist it to go either direction so that the air blows out either way. And then you basically have a small barrel and a big barrel. And then similar to the Shark, you also get the main dryer piece, except this one just goes straight. You can't do any flexing fancy things with it. The Dyson, with all of its attachment and case, retails for $599. Now, if you're patient, you can wait for deals where I've seen anything from 20% to $100 off. And that's what I got during the Black Friday sale. So the Dyson Airwrap, even with the sale, is still double the price of the Shark Flexstyle. But is it doubly as good? We're gonna put it to the test, so let the games begin. All right, now I do have to say, after testing each one, I will have to re-wet my hair. So my hair is nice and wet. Let's prep it with some hair oil. I'm using the Shuamura hair oil. Smells good and it protects. No heat damage here. Now, because I do have naturally wavy hair, the first one I'm interested in trying is this diffuser right here. And I can't really do much to compare it with the Dyson because they don't have one, but let's see how this one works. So there's an adjustment where you can diffuse it with like a big comb or a little comb right here. I guess that's for like if you have big hair or little hair, but since mine's fairly little, like I don't have that much, I'm gonna go for regular. Okay, so with the switch here, you have 3 levels of hotness and then 3 levels of fan, and then you have a cold blaster. So pretty standard for all hair dryers. That's powerful. For all the hair drying, I'm gonna use the Flex arm because that's like what's special about it. And we're putting it on the lowest setting. And with the diffuser, let's try with the big comb to see how it does. So I don't actually use a diffuser that often, but as you can see, like it's doing a pretty good job of preserving my curls. Yeah, I don't know how that happened either. Like I got a perm once when I was 14 and my hair
It was kind of wavy ever since.
is either perm or puberty hit. I don't know. But it did a pretty good job of keeping it curly. I'm probably gonna switch over to the smoothing styler so I can compare it with the Airwrap smoothing styler. So this side will be divided for the Flexstyle, and this side will be divided for the Airwrap. So now I'm just gonna try to blow dry our hair normally as you would a regular blow dryer using the Flex arm and see how well it does. Whoa. So as a blow dryer, I feel like it's quite directed because the nozzle is so small. It just like blows it so directly and strong, and it was at the lowest setting. I do find it to be quite loud. It has more of like a high pitch whizzing sound that I don't know if I like. So for the Dyson Airwrap, I guess you can blow dry your hair like this as well, but I don't know if people use it like that. Okay, I mean, technically, I guess you could use this as a dryer because it does blow air out, but on the box, it says to dry it with this. So I'm gonna put it on also the lowest setting. So for this one, it's not electric, it's more manual. So you move the dials up and down. So I'm gonna put it on the lowest setting to do apples to apples. So you only have 2 heat settings. The cold setting is built in at the bottoms, and you only get low or high. So we'll go with low. So let's see how this goes. So I would say comparing the blow dryers together, on the lowest setting, this just doesn't feel as strong. It's a very gentle heat, and because it has this attachment to it, it basically kind of just distributes the air through your hair instead of a more circular directed heat like this. And I almost want to say that this is a lot more quiet than the Shark Flexstyle, but let's compare them side by side. They both have like this high-pitched whizzing sound. The air intake and the airflow is a lot more present in the Shark Flexstyle than it is in the Airwrap. Whereas you know that Dyson is known for its quiet air purifier fan tool. The technology is in here, where this one definitely just sounds like a vacuum. I do want to test just like raw power and testing apples to apples, which one is stronger. Ooh. It's funny that I had to blow this directly on my face to tell, but I would say power-wise, this one is a lot more powerful. And when it's directed to my face like this, you can definitely feel the heat. And I do think that the attachment for the dryer does somewhat causes it to tone down a little. Yeah, it does dampen the flow, so to say. So my hair still is relatively damp, so I could finish it out by using the smoothing finisher on each tool. So I looked on the box, and this is supposed to be acting as a finisher as well. Basically, you can blow dry down like this and keep it smooth, and same with this one. So I'm gonna try the Shark first. Wait, we gotta flex the arm. We gotta flex it. Okay, not bad. As I'm blow drying, I do feel like it's suctioning my hair a little bit, and it does a decent job of taming the frizz. This is blown dry to have no frizz, and this is what my natural hair looks like. Frizz, major frizz. Now let's see how the Dyson does. You can also adjust the nozzle on top of right here to direct it. So I'm gonna direct it right next to my, ooh, that feels like it's a little too strong. So this one does take a little bit of getting used to, because once you redirect the airflow, it does get kind of intense, whereas before when I was just blow drying, the air distributed from this nozzle and this nozzle and this nozzle, whereas now that I'm just directing it down, it takes a little bit of getting used to. I would say based on the results, I do like the way the Shark Flexstyle feels more when smoothing the hair, because it feels like it rolls along. This doesn't move, but it just grips my hair a little bit better, and I like the silicone where it almost like kind of like acts as an extra hand to move it and to smooth it as you're drying it. So I would say for the blow drying component alone, because this has, I didn't try this one yet, so I'll do that for you guys real quick. That one doesn't have it. This could act as that as well. I mean, I don't know when then I would ever use this nozzle. Maybe if I'm like straightening my hair, but I just don't do that with a blow dryer. So rating the air drying mode, the Shark, I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10, and the Dyson, I'm gonna give 7 out of 10. Okay, so next up, I'm actually gonna be trying the comb brushes. Now, this is where it gets fun because for the Dyson Airwrap, you get 2 comb attachments, whereas you only get 1 comb attachment with the Shark Flexstyle. So I'm gonna test it with how we did the blow dryer attachments. So we got this in. For this one, I feel like it would be kind of difficult to use it as a side piece like that. I feel like this would be easier. I don't know, let's test it out. For the Dyson, they're both meant for shaping, so you can either do a more rounded brush curl blowout, or you can do more straight. I'm gonna try it with the straight first in one part, and then we'll try it with the curled in on the other part. So I will say, when styling your hair should be relatively damp, not wet like how it just was. So that was the more smoothing brush. Let's try it with this more curved shaped brush. So I really like the way that this longer comb shaper feels than the shorter one. The shorter one is nice because it does actually create more of a curve than the long one, to be honest with you, but I just feel like this glides through a lot better. Can you guys tell? Like, it just has a little bit more volume and curve to it, whereas this one was nicer for a curve at the bottom, but it feels a lot more flat than this one, whereas the longer one felt more voluminous. In terms of blow drying and styling, I did feel like it created a lot of frizz for my hair on both. Maybe the longer one had less frizz, but definitely the shorter one left so much frizz along this side and this part of the hair that I didn't love that. Let's see how the Shark Flexstyle pans out. The elbow shape seems like it would be a little challenging to use, so I'm gonna actually use this straight like this, because then now I could twist it a little bit better. For styling, I do feel like the lowest setting and the lowest heat doesn't do a very good job. Like, I barely feel any heat with it, so I'm gonna actually increase it with both the heat and the fan. Refix this one to say apples to apples. So if we're gonna compare apples to apples here, well, I guess we can't really because the brushes aren't the same. But if we're gonna compare each side right here, I'm gonna have to say that I prefer this side a little bit more than this side, only because I don't love the frizz that came out of the Dyson Airwrap. That's the one thing I don't love, is that it does create a little bit of frizz for my hair, whereas maybe it's because of the attachment and then the extra bristles.
It does take away a lot of my hair though.
But because of these extra bristles, it's able to kind of tame it a little bit, creating less frizz. It definitely looks a lot more smooth in the parts that I brushed it on versus this side. And I also love the rounded ends, whereas this one took a lot more to shape. So for the shaper brush round, I'm gonna have to give it to the Shark Flexstyle, with this brush getting an 8 out of 10 because it caught on to some of my hair and took some out, and although this one did too. For this brush, I'm gonna give a 7, and then for this brush, I'm gonna give a 6. Okay, so next up we have our rounded styling brush. So this one for the Shark is more of an oval shape where you're supposed to smooth and volumize at the same time with the double bristles, and then for the Dyson, it's just the regular hard bristle that's also supposed to round and volumize. With the rounded brush, I can see how having the arm a little bit bent could help alleviate your own arm a little bit. So let's try it out. So here it is with the rounded volumizing brush. There's not too much volumizing because I didn't really concentrate on the roots that much. So let me try that a little bit. I do think it's a little awkward to have it bent. I think for styling, I prefer it actually to be straight so I can have a little bit more leverage and hold it closer to the styling brush. Yeah, this one feels a lot better like this. So earlier when I was using the paddle brush, I felt like the lower heat was just not strong enough, but because this has airflow all throughout, the medium style heat was just so intense and hot, and it was just more blowing everything out. But in terms of results, I would say it did okay. I almost prefer the paddle brush more to the oval brush, but it's definitely smooth in the areas that I did do it. Like this is my normal frizzy hair, and this is my styled hair. Let's see how the Dyson Airwrap performs. So in terms of volumizing for what they say that they do, the Dyson definitely volumizes more, and I'm able to achieve like a nicer curl at the end. But I still hate the fact that every time I use it to style, I end up with so much frizz on top, whereas this one, I don't. And it could be because of the design of the bristles. It doesn't have the double bristle that we have here to tame all of the frizz and flyaway to really smooth it down. I do love the shape of it. I'm gonna say though, in terms of volumizing, the Dyson does volumize. But do we like that volumize? It just feels kind of frizzy, and it just doesn't look that good to me. It just looks a little bit poofy.
It looked like a poofy cat.
Whereas this one, decently, I wouldn't say it volumized at all. It basically just shaped. So I would say both of these for them are not my favorite attachments, but which one performed better? For my hair type, I'm gonna have to say the Shark Flexstyle is the winner here again. I was so hoping that the Dyson would win one. But, you know, the point goes to this, and I'm gonna rate the oval volumizing brush for this one. I'm gonna give it a 7, and for this one, I'm also gonna give it a 7 because it's just average. So our last test will be the curling attachments. Now my hair holds a curl like no other. This right here was 3 days after I curled it with a curling iron. So I have high expectations for the curling attachments. Like if you cannot hold a curl for at least a day,
The whole thing is just not worth it.
so we're gonna test the attachment with the same smaller barrel. I like the fact that Dyson comes with a bigger barrel, but just for the sake of testing a curling iron attachment, we're gonna go with this. I'm already taking a point off of this because this was what I hated the most about the Dyson original series, was that you have to figure out which direction you curl your hair in order to place it correctly. So on this side, I typically curl out, so you would use this one that blows outward. Okay, so let's go. See, this is what I hate about this. Can't figure it out. And you're supposed to just wrap it. Okay, on the lowest setting, it's not gripping my hair. So let's try it on the highest. It's barely holding a curl even as I'm doing it. Obviously, you can't do it on already blow-dried hair, so let me go dampen it a little bit. My hair is definitely slightly more damp, so let's hold out the hair like this. I think it'll wrap a little bit easier. Here is what the curls look like. Definitely a lot tighter of curls than I'm used to, and I almost feel like I'm stepping back into like the 80s or 90s. But I do have to say it has a much harder time gripping onto your hair if it's not close to being dry. Like this one was a little wet and it had a really hard time curling. So let me just try this last piece one more time. Okay. voila. They're very, very tight curls, like Shirley Temple curls. Not what I'm used to, but I do wonder if they will last for at least a day. Now we move on to the Dyson. Okay, so with this one, let's see how we adjust it. We're gonna try trial and error. But just for demonstration purposes, you can alternate. I would say the vortex to get your hair to curl and wrap around the barrel is challenging for both tools. I hate the way that it wraps around and then it leaves one piece kind of just out there because it was not able to grab onto it. And this goes for both of the stylers. Okay, in terms of curl, I almost prefer the Dyson Airwrap a little more because I feel like it's a little bit more of a modern curl. It's not so tight and bouncy, like I'm not going to a pageant here. This one is a little bit more relaxed, more of like a southern curl a little bit that's already been let loose, whereas this one is a tight. I honestly, to be honest, I don't prefer either one. I don't wear my hair curly like this, like a va-va-voom blowout like this. I would say they're both just as difficult to curl, and if I had to curl my hair, I'd much rather use a curling iron. Here are the pros of a curling styler. It's much more gentle on your hair and it mimics a blowout you would get at like the blow dry bar. And the con in comparison to a curling iron is that it's so hard to use. For each of them, you guys saw me struggle grabbing pieces. It would grab one and then leave a tiny little bit out, and then I have to go back. You have to have like the perfect dampness to it, otherwise if it's too dry, it won't catch on. If it's too wet, it also won't catch on. It's just difficult to use, so I can see the frustration with it. Now, the true test will be if it holds for a day, at least. I would say for the curling mode, Dyson definitely beats out the Shark. Obviously, its namesake, the Airwrap, it should do a pretty good job of wrapping your hair. I do think that it creates a better curl. It smooths it a little bit more. It's less chaotic. This one just felt like a vortex trying to catch on, where this one kind of had a little bit more grip. I'm gonna give this one a 6 out of 10. I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 10. So here are my final thoughts on both of these stylers. I think they're fine. They're nice to have. I don't think they're a necessity. I don't understand why. They're sold out everywhere. I think it's just more of the hype around them that makes it exciting. The actual ease of use is not that good. And as you guys can see, for my hair at least, both of these paddle brushes didn't perform that well. The Shark styler, if I'm gonna get this, I would at least expect the dryer function with the cool arm to work well, but I almost prefer my regular old-fashioned T3 hair blow dryer. I wouldn't necessarily use it for anything other than this paddle brush. This was probably my favorite brush of all, but to spend $250 on a tool that I really only like one thing for seems kind of useless. As for the Dyson Airwrap, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I have the first generation and I can probably count on 2 hands the amount of times that I've used it. So again, it's one of those things that's really hyped up. You don't always have to feel like you have to buy everything that's going viral or popular on the internet, even though I did. But I tried it, so you don't have to. If you're really, really dying for a hairstyler like this and you think it would change your life, I say save a little bit of money and go for the Shark Flexstyle. The Dyson is nice, but unless you're gonna be using it to style your hair like a blowout or a salon every single day, I don't think you really need it. But one more thing I do have to say about this is that for both of these tools, you will lose a significant amount of hair while styling, as you can see all over the floor. That's all I have to say for the battle of the viral hairstyler. The winner is the Shark Flexstyle. So it's 24 hours later, and as you can see, my hair is still curly. I slept on it, I went to the gym, I tied it up. One thing I haven't done yet is comb it. I'm feeling like I might end up liking the Shark style better because the curls were so tight before, but throughout the day it kind of loosened up. Whereas the Dyson curl, I would say it looks like my 3rd day curl, which is not a bad thing. But I would say like this one held a lot better. But let me comb it out. But yeah, I would say they both did a great job keeping the curls. Which one did you think did a better job? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!